So I wanted to read one poem. Your body is not solid. Its structure is a spinning universe. Science knows that the molecules do not even touch. They have as much relative distance between them, as much law and order as the planets in your solar system. What are the spaces in between filled with? What holds it all together? Love. The part you identify as your physical body is a temporary costume. Emmanuel, who Ram Dass has spent a lot of time with. I just happened to find this in a book, and I thought it really described what we've been talking about in the last couple of days. And in reference to Maharaji, pure awareness could be called a lamp in the darkness. It's a presence in every moment of life that also could be called the one who knows whatever is. It is timeless, undying, unchanging, open, clear, and wise. And so that was our experience when we went to India and actually met that particular physical manifestation of this, the gluing together of love and awareness, where they both become one. I mean, sitting there, our experience, there was no time and space. There was no discursive thought. You were just sitting in this, it felt like a liquid atmosphere. And he didn't speak all the time. He'd throw fruit at us, he joked with us, but all the time there's this very essency quality that, to me, was my experience of that combination of love and awareness. And Mike, I don't know if you have a mic available, and I don't know where Ramesh is, but I'd like him to just say a little something about what we understood as the qualities of that love and awareness as we later found to be what they might be termed as.
I'm hoping this doesn't feed back. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. As you saw in the video, Maharaji was constantly in motion, and there was this kind of affectionate interchange with the devotees. He was very much a family guru, householder guru. Not very many sadhus or meditators, nor did he give us the opportunity to sit in meditation very often. And there was this very affectionate interchange that went on, and people were asking about their family problems and how to get their kids married or into school. It just went on and on. At the same time, there was this energy and love in the atmosphere around him that made you thoroughly aware that you were not in the presence of an ordinary human being. And we came to identify that state as eventually something called in the yogic practices Sahaj Sthitya Samadhi. Samadhi is an absorption, and Sahaj means easy or relaxed. And the Stitya part means fixed or stable. And if you look at the photos of him, as Ram Dass referred to yesterday, if you look in his right eye, you see one thing. If you look in the left eye, it's completely out there in a different space. And it was kind of like he was completely present with us and absolutely affectionate and attending to more of our needs than we even knew we had. And at the same time, there was nobody home. And so that it was clear also that his what he was seeing in us was not necessarily what we were seeing in ourselves at any given moment. He was, as Ram Dass refers to it, seeing our souls, but he also saw, I think, the parade of our incarnations, and the ways that we had gotten to him, and the ways that he worked with us had impacts on us for the rest of our lives. I mean, we were in our 20s, most of us at that time. Those days or months or a few years near him were still the most significant parts of our lives for most of us. But the thing that was most palpable in that atmosphere was the love. And just this a sense that he was emanating it. He was like a lighthouse or a beacon of love. And he certainly wasn't looking for us to love him. He didn't feel like he needed anything back at all. It was just coming out of him. I recall one time when we were sitting with him in the ashram, and for some reason it had gone quiet for a minute. And I felt this just intense wave of love coming from him. And then I opened my eyes and I realized everybody around me was feeling the same thing, almost overcome by it. And that it wasn't directed at me particularly, although I wished it had been. I think we all wanted our personal share of what was coming from him. But, he was just a broadcaster of love. It was the love station. So I think to begin to understand what we've been talking about these days in terms, because his presence in our lives has been the model for what we have talked about as love and awareness. But it really is about that state of being that he lives in. Okay.
Maybe Ram Dass, you can give us a little anecdote here and there from your direct experience relative to love and awareness. And I would just say one thing we've forgotten is what he used to be. We've called him, and it's part of a prayer actually. And then the awareness part is in Hindi it's called Antarayami, which means knower of all hearts. And I remember the first second I saw him, I realized, oh my, you've known me forever and forevermore. I just had this deep experience of that antaryami, which I think almost every one of us had when we first met him. And then as he went along, of course, all of these miracles of knowing stuff that we weren't even aware of, or it was going to happen, all of those kind of miracles. That antaryami was a very important part of who he is.
We were going on a pilgrimage from up on mountains and in the Land Rover. Maharaji was taking us in an apple farm, and in the apple farm, usually the local people were they were tremendously thrilled that Maharaji had come to them, and they'd come from their homes or their work, and they'd be picking flowers off the trees to bring to him, and there was always a bandara or something like that, feeding people all the time. He wanted to feed people. And after the apple farm, we went to a building of the forestry department, and it was not used. And he went inside, and one of his Indian devotees went with him, and we were all sitting out on the grass. I was with the Bhagwandas and Indian people, and the devotee that was in with him said, "Come out and Ramdas." And I hadn't expected it. So I jumped up and he was alone in there. And he looked at me and then he said, "You like to feed children." Well, I suppose so. He said, "That's good. That's good." And then he came over and he touched me, my third eye, with his finger. And I went out. I completely lost consciousness. When I came out from the interview, they said I was red in the face and didn't know them or anything. He said to me when the other group came, you see, when in the first interview, first time I was interviewed, when I was in India, then he said, now you go back to your home for 2 years. 2 years, and then you'll be coming. He said, 2 years, I will be waiting for you. And he said, you have my Ashirvad for your book. I had no book. And I went and uttered Ashirvad. What did that mean? God. Well, what is Ashirvad? Oh, blessing. Book. You'll find out. And he said, don't tell anybody about me. That's like being given a jewel and you can't tell anybody about it. And I got to the United States, and I told all the people I could tell. Because I can't hold this, because we in the West, we had models of how human beings should be, and here was one that just so over the top. Over the top. And so I went, told many people. The first was Wesleyan University. And Rameshwadas was the first one that reacted. So 2 years later, I got back to India, and there was a nice Buddhist retreat, and I don't think I was told this. Yeah. Here. Huh? No.
Go for it.
Thank you. So I went to a Buddhist retreat, which with about 60 meditators about this group. And I had, where is he? Where is he? I gotta find him. He said he was gonna see me. I mean, he knows. I know. I don't know. And I couldn't meditate. I couldn't follow my breath. Every time I follow my breath, I go, where is he? Where is he? Finally, I decided decided I was going to have to give up meditating and go find Maharaji. And Kenny, this girl that I knew, I told her in tea break, I'm going to find my guru. She said, I'd love to go. And I said, well, I'm going to go, you'll just leave. She says, well, I have a friend who's a big school bus, and he's coming from Great Britain, and he comes back and forth under the floorboards, just things that are, contraband. And he'd probably go with us. us because we could go in transportation. Yeah. So we left a few days later, and when we left, there were 60 people, and there were 24 had left with me. Because all the word went abroad. And we all want to go find Maharaji. And so we were going to Delhi, which was a place where it could ice cream and as soft beds after a retreat, a Buddhist retreat. And Danny came up to the front of the bus and he said, we up there's a road goes right to Allahabad, and that's a very holy city, and that's a very, very, that's where the Kumbh Mela is. The Kumbh Mela is gathering of the saints at a certain planetary position. There are three rivers come together, and it's called the Prayag, and everybody goes and bathes at that point. And there's only thousands of people. Millions. And it's quite a production. And I'd heard about it, and I'd heard that it was 2 weeks before we had gone, before we were on our travels. And I said, well, Danny, the Kumbh Mela was already, we can't, he says, well, it's a place anyway, it's a holy place. And you won't see holy men, but women, and you can go to the holy place. So he went back in the bus, and I thought, ice cream and a holy place. A holy place and ice cream. And I went, I decided, I was deciding. And I consulted a few people, but I wanted to think it through. And, well, oh boy, ice cream. And then, but we were all Westerners, and we've come to India for all holy people, holy holy, holy, goals, we should go. And finally, the bus driver said, which way do you want to go? Oh, jeez. Oh, God, I can't decide. I can't decide. I can't decide. You know, two things, you know, well, we people coming to holy places, and this is the one where, yeah, we should go. And we turn right. And my decision. I come to a sandy place. Looks like the fair has been nothing's, you know, nothing. And there are dogs running around and a couple of people, just a few, the expanse of this place, 100,000, you say, 1 million people having been on this place. And we're driving, Danny said, there's a Hanuman temple on the side of the side. We can go there. So we turn right and turn and go. And we drive and then Rameshwadas says, there's Maharaji.
Awesome.
Huh? What?
Awesome.
And there was the Maharaji going by on the opposite direction from the bus. And he said to the man he was with, they've come. They have come. Don't remember, he doesn't want to. And I say, well, I'm breathless, and I say, come, let's get off and touch his feet. And we get off and touch his feet. And he says, follow us. They're in a little rickshaw. This big bus, little rickshaw, and little streets on the this town, Allahabad, and they draw up to a house. It's called Dada's house. man that he was with. And Donna's wife is coming down, and she says, when you've come, Maharaji woke us up at 6 o'clock to prepare food for lunch. He said there were 25 people coming for lunch. That includes the bus driver. That was 6 in the morning. But I was deciding at 10 o'clock. That experience has made a great difference in me, because since then, Houghton's aside or something. No, I can't decide. I decide. I decide. And so we went to the house, and there was food for everybody. Wonderful, hospitable, and he never mentioned about his instruction to talk to nobody. In fact, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people about him. You see, I never told him. I told them, told his name, you know his name, Neem Karoli Baba. And he was on a train. And he was a sadhu, and he'd gotten onto the train, and so the conductor said, "You gotta get off. You gotta get off," because it was in first class, and there was some people in first class. What was that sadhu doing there? So they put him off the train at a place called Neem Karoli. And he went over to a wall, a stone wall, and he watched things going by, and Amala, And now the train was going to go on. And they couldn't get the train to move. The chug, chug, chug. Chug, chug, chug. The waving flags, and nothing would get the... So there was a woman who was on the train, a holy woman, and she said, "You know, the train would move. You threw off that sadhu." So the conductor went over to Maharaji, said, "Would you like to get on the train?" And he what do I have to do with trains? I don't have any train. And the choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-choo. And they were all getting frantic. And they got him to get on. And the minute he got on, the train went. And that's why he got his name. But you know, it's easy to tell his cities about little powers, but it's not so easy to tell the stories about his love. Like he was with his devotee, and Maharaji's laughing and laughing. And the devotee is, "What are you laughing about?" "Mother so-and-so died just yesterday. She had died down on the plains of India, 100 miles. Why are you laughing?" "Because she's going to be better off this time." Maharaji had tears down his face. She was a magnificent woman. You'd be with Maharaji, and he looks from the mountains, and he stood there. And he would pick up that a devotee in a distant land was crying for him. Or he was getting a shave, and they do it out on the street. And there was the barber, and the barber told Maharaji, my son's in the army and he never writes to me. That's too bad, said Maharaji. And then Maharaji says, I gotta go to the bathroom out back. And it goes to the bathroom and comes back, and they finish the shave. And the barber receives a letter from his son. He said, it's been very strange. I was here on the battlefield, but this man came and he was shaved from and a half all white, the cream one, and half shaved. And he said, your father says you write to him. And there have been now my fault. There have been thousands of people that are calling upon him in their lives. Somebody's dying, somebody's hurt, there's somebody else, family troubles. And he somehow picks up all that stuff. And but then he loves these people. He unconditionally loves all of us. He unconditionally loves all of us. Unconditionally loves you and me. And the families that come to see him, they respond with love. This was a beloved, like a grandfather. Do we know any of these people in the West? Who can just love everybody? and serve everybody. Love and serve. Love and serve.
No. But you know what I'd like to ask Roshi something.
But probably not before we have a bathroom
Oh,
break.
well, okay.
Does that sound realistic?
Okay. How about 5 minutes then?
Per person.